I'd like to bring our next guest, who is also full of energy. Many of you in this room may already know him. He is the owner of watch company Tally and Twine. I'd like to bring up Randy Williams.
Congratulations to all the graduates. If you see that bio in the program, you can go ahead and check that page out. RIP to the old me. I was asked to share just some inspiration to the graduates. I had the honor of being one of the mentors for the Bforce program, and it's so great to be able to share the things that you learned along the way. Most of those business lessons you probably learned the hard way. And so getting that lesson from somebody who's been in that trenches with you and just pouring back into people in the same way other people pour into you is essential. So I want to share just three quick things about what I feel that someone should have told me when I started my business. So hopefully this helps. The first is that the journey is actually necessary. It's not just a point A to point B. What do I mean by that? When I was living in Atlanta before I moved to Virginia, I went to my place of employment that day and the doors were locked. After about 30 minutes or so, other employees started to show up, and we quickly realized that this would be our last day at work. The owners of that business had decided to take their clients' money and not return it. And that's how I found out I was out of work. Shortly thereafter, my car was repossessed. And this was one of the worst periods of time in my life. So I called my cousin up who lived here in Chesapeake. She had just moved here, had a house built, and she said, "Why don't you come and try to stay with us for a little while?" I said, "Cool, that sounds like a plan. I could find a job up there, but I'm always gonna go back to the Black Mecca, Atlanta, you know. I gotta go back there. That's where all the go-getters are." And so I took a one-way trip here to Virginia. Some of you might remember those $79 AirTran tickets. They were love. Can we give it up one time for AirTran? More inflation, sorry. But I made my way to Virginia, and it's only when I got to Virginia that I met my wife. I started a multi-million-dollar business, and I built connections that lasted a lifetime. So I said that to say that the journey is necessary. It may seem like you're going out of the way, but all of those things will add up to the ultimate conclusion. The second thing is to never stop learning. Raise your hand if you're in your first year of business. If you're within the first year of business. How about 2 years? How about 3? Fewer and fewer hands, right? Let's start with the 3. I see Luke in the back who raised his hand. As fast as you're moving, brother, as good as you're doing, your business is still just a baby. If I asked a 3-year-old to go out here and drive me home, it wouldn't happen. And I think a lot of times we read these newspaper clippings, we read highlights on the internet, and we see these businesses moving so fast. They made $1 million in the first year. They raised $20 million. But in actuality, most of the businesses that stick around, they start very, very slow. And that path doesn't look like this. It just kind of looks like that for a while. The mayor already told you this. So treat your business like a baby, and that will avoid a lot of the stress of getting ahead of yourself. If you feel like you should be here, but in actuality, your business is here. Exercise patience when you got your business, because if you treat it like a baby and you nurture it, you'll give yourself time to learn. Give yourself time to grow. And what I learned is that owning a business is an ultimate learning experience. You learn something new about not only business, but about yourself every single day. And every aspect of your business transforms you into a different person. So keep that learning in mind. The other thing I want to talk about learning is this quote that I kind of live by. What got you here won't get you there. So the person that you were, just like the poem told us, how I know everything is aligned. The thing that got you to start your business won't be the thing that helps you in year by then. I remember starting my business in our dining room. I was still working and starting my business part-time. I have actually a former co-worker here. She can remember this day, but I came to work one day and I was eating my lunch, and the president of the company came in and he said, we're gonna have to let you go. And at the time, my wife was 5 months pregnant. And, that was a long car ride back home. So she showed up to the house, and she was wondering why I was at home so early, so I had to break that news to her. But again, it's all about the journey. So what I decided to do, I said, baby, this is what we're gonna do. Just give me 90 days to try this business full time. Let's see what happens. After 90 days, I promise you I'll go and look for a job. We can't pay our bills after then, so 90 turned into 120, and then those 6 months turned into a year, and I haven't looked back since. So I said that to say, and the mayor mentioned faith, so I wanted to briefly mention this. 2 years before we purchased our building, I started looking for buildings to purchase. I had no idea how I was going to afford it. I didn't know where it was going to be, but I started calling real estate agents. I started touring. I started getting my vision together about what type of building I needed. And 2 years later, everything aligned. And this is where I want to pause for a moment and talk about the importance of these city officials in the development of entrepreneurs and development of businesses, specifically because we're a Black brand event, people of color and businesses founded by people of color. Economic development is coming important. We can't afford for Black people to be left out of this economic development. Many of us moved here with nobody else even wanted to drive through Portsmouth. My wife and I bought our home here, and actually Talent Twine is the intersection of Portsmouth. That's how important Portsmouth is to me. And so we can't afford to let Black business owners, again, be at the tail end of the development. We're going to need the city officials and the people empowering the city of Portsmouth to put things in place to make sure that we take part in that growth. The community that built Portsmouth deserves to be a part of that development. So I just have to say that. The economic support for the city of Portsmouth. Once I got ready to purchase my building, economic development sent me a list of properties. Some of them I hadn't seen before, and I went to tour one, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I negotiated with the seller. I was blessed that he was moving out of state, and he gave me a great deal on the property. Economic development also told me about the interior build-out grant. Some of you hadn't heard of it. I was able to use the interior build-out grant to fix up the inside of the property so that we could move in. And I also was able to get things like, a security fee paid for it, and all of that was through economic development. So can we have a hand for economic development? And the third and last thing before I leave is I want you to let yourself feel. Let yourself feel. Understand that challenges are normal. If you go into business expecting not to encounter any challenges, you set yourself up for failure. I don't care if you have the best idea in the world, it's not going to come without challenges. It's not going to come without struggle. So if you already know that going in, you'll be better prepared to handle that. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster. There are going to be the highs, the lows, joy, sadness. But I think that the journey, at least in my experience here in year 8, has been worth it. I want to quickly tell you about this Yale study that I found out about last week. So they asked the question, why is it that we cry tears of joy? And they wanted to study that. So these scientists went into it. They formed a group of participants. And what they discovered was that those tears of joy actually help us process our emotions. So when you got 5, 6 different things going on in your head, you got all these emotions that you can't really put into words, the tears speak that for you. And so what that means to me is that the people who allow themselves to feel, who allow themselves to cry,
those people will be better equipped to handle that business going forward. So allow yourself to feel. The journey is necessary. Never stop learning and let yourself feel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Randy Williams. I think one of the things he did right there was